Hey, this is Shoot First, Questions Later, an informative and mildly entertaining photography podcast with a raw Aussie flavour. My name's Cameron, and sitting here with me is William Patino.
Hello.
And we are recording our very first episode.
Correct. And considering it's episode 1, we thought we'd just quickly give a brief introduction on who these voices actually are. So, as Cam mentioned, I'm Will, and I am a landscape photographer. I've been shooting professionally now for almost 3 years. This is my 3rd year. And I live on the south coast of Australia in Wollongong with Cam as well.
Yep,
beautiful. Yes, it is a beautiful place. And basically I run photography workshops and I shoot for brands and tourism clients and things like that, and I'm very passionate about photography, like Camster here.
Yeah, you've got the dream job. But yeah, my name's Cameron Sandercock, and I'm a part-time photographer, and I love photographing all things, I suppose, ranging mainly from landscapes and portraits to, just lifestyle in general.
Yeah, definite jack of all trades.
And Will and I, we sort of met out taking photos around Wollongong.
Yeah. Bound together through a love of photography and inseparable ever since.
Yeah, Instagram sort of got us into contact to begin with, and we caught up, took some photos, and just kept doing that for 5 years, and here we are now.
Continuously, we haven't stopped. We're up to battery number 47,000. We're still going. So we decided we're doing a podcast. Cameron, an avid listener of podcasts, he planted this seed a while ago. We should do a podcast, and initially I thought, no, you fool! What? I'm not doing that. But anyway, here we are now doing this, and I guess it's kind of really first and foremost just a passion project. Really, we love photography. We live and breathe photography. It's on our mind every day. So this is a cool way to, for us, a good excuse to just sit down and talk about photography, really. I love the thought of just being able to share just a glimpse of this sort of positive experience that is photography, being able to, maybe help people along their photography journey, give tips, give some feedback. Yeah, a good way to give back. There's a lot of information out there, but at the same time, sometimes it's hard to get the exact answers you're after, so we're going to have a Q&A session on this podcast every episode. And what else, Cam? What else are we going to...
We're also going to, do a little bit of general photography talk, but as the name suggests, we are going to talk about shooting first. And Will, what have you taken photos of in the last week?
The last week? So for me, I've got 2 kids. Judah, my son, is 2, and my wife and I have just had our baby girl come into the world, Aurora.
Congratulations.
Yes, so busy time. She's 2.5 weeks old. So for me, the last 2 months now have been good quality home time. I travel so much throughout the year with my work. So photography, it's on my mind every day. I check the sky every day for good light. But as far as personal images, it has been more or less limited to portraitures just of the kids and...
Very important.
Yeah, things around the house, which I'm really enjoying. Obviously, this is not something I do professionally, but I love it. I love photographing people. It's really fun and enjoyable and so different to what I normally do. So, yeah, this past week, although I've been out in nature and forever watching the sky each day, the light hasn't done anything special. I was up at 5:30 this morning and went down the beach, but no photos were taken. So yeah, just portraits at the moment. What about you?
Yeah, nothing sort of too exciting. I like to sort of photograph some of the plants around my house.
Somehow you do a good job making them look quite special as well.
Yeah, I just love those plants. I love watching them.
You're
grow.
Doing a bit of a 365 project kind of on the sly.
Yeah, challenging myself to take a photo every day. Not putting too much pressure on myself, but this week I think it was sort of last Friday. We're recording this on a Thursday, but a nice little storm rolled in, really low sort of cloud fog. So We drove up the mountain and got
the mountains here are
Yes.
kind of hills compared to the rest of the world, but we
glorified hill.
Yeah, we embraced what we have here.
Yeah, but luckily the cloud was low enough to have a really nice atmosphere. It felt like I was up in the clouds in the fog. Yeah, just
a lot
took
of
some
low
nice
light.
photos.
Yeah.
And it was that blue hour, my favourite hour to photograph, I suppose.
For those that don't know Cameron's photography or even your personalities over the years, I've known you very hot and cold with your photography. You're either all in doing a crazy concept, some kind of fine art photography, conceptual stuff, and then 2 months later you'll be completely not doing that anymore and then focusing on film photography. And it's just over the years it's been on and off, but I'm really enjoying this year in particular. You kind of just been consistently just getting out and just shooting things all the time.
Yeah, no, thanks for that.
You make me sound boring because I'll just shoot land, scapes of the land, and that's it.
No, but speaking of which, I think you went for a little road trip this week, didn't you, last week?
Oh, yeah. At first I was thinking you've made a mistake. We're going to have to cut this recording. But indeed, yes, drove 6 hours to photograph some sunflowers which are in bloom for a very short period of time. But unfortunately, the sunflowers were looking a little bit sad and droopy, and the light was not really, too favourable. So it was a long return trip to maybe come home empty-handed. I might have a shot there that I will possibly post somewhere or put out there, but that's a big part of landscape photography, I guess.
Yeah, and that's very much your style. You'll go hard at something, even though the chance of success may only be a small window. I think that's where a lot of your best images have come out of, just like chasing a small chance, maybe a slither of light that could be and most likely will be nothing, but there's still that small chance of something incredible happening, and that's sort of learned your philosophy.
Yeah, early on that you just got to be in it to win it, essentially, and it's still fun anyway for me, the whole experience. So it just makes it more worthwhile if it does pay off, and when it does happen, whether it's chasing storms or the northern lights or whatever it is, even if you're putting lots of hours in or being uncomfortable in weather or anything like that, it just makes it more rewarding at the end of the day and gets you out and doing something anyway. But definitely, yeah, you're right. I think most of my favourite photos are those ones where it really could have went. There was a good chance it wasn't going to happen, but it did. And after a while, it almost sounds cliche, like this moment was not going to happen or I waited this long, but yeah, it kind of ends up that way after a while.
Yeah, and this is a little road trip you invited me on, but I didn't have.
Yeah, I invited you to the flowers, but yeah, you just don't have it in you.
And although it sort of
paid off this time.
Yeah, I didn't really miss out on anything this time. It's definitely
you've been burned in the past.
Yeah,
which we will surely probably go into in other episodes, no doubt, because there's been some funny stories along the way.
Yeah.
So as we mentioned, we want to do a Q&A. I want to answer people's questions, both of us, each episode. And for this first episode, I've just kind of put the word out on Instagram. We're looking for questions that were a little bit more in-depth, a little bit more hardy than the standard, what do you shoot with, or how do I take a nice photo?
Unique.
And kind of overwhelmed with some of the questions we've had come in, which has been great.
Yeah,
so
really good.
We'll go straight into it today. So we've had Oliver _Rissi on Instagram, and he sent through a really sweet question here. He says, where do you start? I've been shooting for around 4 years and finished school this year. Should I enroll into a photography school? Should I get a part-time job and keep photography as a hobby, then maybe work myself up? And then he says, where do you think young people wanting to make a career out of photography should head? Cheers. Was
loaded.
He's loaded that one up big time. Very in depth, but it's a very important question that I honestly get asked quite a lot, and it's understandable. We live in an age where people are really looking up to photographers and other people on social media, and it's the whole professional photographer thing is kind of glorified through social media platforms such as Instagram. And it's no wonder that young people, young photographers are thinking, okay, how can I do that? It's a very valid question, and it's something that through school or whatever growing up, that's not really looked at all or really mentioned. So super good question. We might as well break it down a bit because he's loaded it up quite extensively. He's basically said, essentially, should he finish school and enroll into a photography school, or get a part-time job and keep photography as a hobby and see where it leads? Now, photography school, I'm assuming, here in Australia, university or TAFE or a college basically, like that. What's your thoughts, Cam?
Yeah. Well, our opinions, they're both coming from a similar place because, Will, you started doing photography while you were working full-time, doing something completely different. And that was also the same case with me. I was doing a full-time job completely separate from photography and picked it up in, the spare time. And that's almost a place we would recommend a person might start.
Yeah, and I'm jealous. Like, Oliver's saying he's almost finished school. He's been into photography for 4 years. Like, I've been shooting now for about 5 years total, and I'm getting old. I'm getting old and frail. My knees are sore. So Oliver's got the whole world ahead of him. He's in a beautiful spot in life right now. He's got so many options laid out before him. My honest advice is don't enroll into an education system for photography. Now, I'm not saying that is wrong. This is just coming straight from the heart and from experience. But from what I've seen, especially something like photography now, it's going to depend on the genre, but let's just kind of more focus on, say, landscapes, what I do. It's more, in my opinion, somewhat of an art. That's obviously up for debate, but I kind of view it as more of an art. And art, although there are techniques involved that have to be learnt, like structured techniques, which obviously even on my workshops, this is what I teach,
Yep.
There's an element of it that is purely emotional and creative, and things like that can't really be taught in a classroom environment. So I feel like photography, in this day and age, you can learn so rapidly from, obviously, first-hand experience, just getting out there. And that's something I done so much. Just my first 12 months, I probably shot about 300 sunrises because I just fell in love with it.
Insane.
And you can do workshops, you can go on YouTube, you can just go on the internet and research things. The information,
podcasts,
listen to this fabulous podcast. Exactly. The information is so freely available to at least get you to a certain point. If you do a formal educational approach, it could take you months to get anywhere, whereas online you could spend maybe 5-6 hours and make dramatic leaps, or do a workshop for a day with someone and learn firsthand and, make leaps and bounds, something I witness firsthand all the time. So I really feel like the safest option is definitely just keeping it as a hobby initially. And unfortunately, the times we live in, social media plays such a big role in photographers and photographers' careers. And I feel like keeping it as a hobby, just refining your craft and growing as a photographer and establishing a following for yourself. Because your potential clients are going to be your followers. And over time, you will learn that if there's going to be an option, a viable career there for you. If you're having people interested in what you're doing and maybe requesting to buy prints or can you shoot my wedding or whatever it is, then well, hang on, there's a bit of a demand here. And that's kind of the crossroad that I found myself in a few years back. I was working full-time. Photography was a very big hobby. I was partially making money off photography, but it definitely, wasn't full-time type thing. And then it just got to that crossroad where I went, hang on, I either have to make a decision here. I either go all in with photography or I maybe forget about it, because it was getting very hard to juggle the two. And I think that's the road that Oliver can go down, and a lot of young people listening, or anyone really, any amateur photographer, if you're starting to wonder, hang on, I want to do this full-time, what's the first thing I should do? I think it's just, first of all, worry about your photography. That's number one. Get better as a photographer. Don't stress about the career. And then just start to market yourself online. That's so important these days. Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't, but it is.
Yeah, there's plenty of hard work to be done before you even start getting paid. isn't there?
Yeah, that's it. And
it would be nice to be getting paid in your part-time or full-time job separate from photography while you're putting in that hard work in your off time. I know someone who went through exactly what Oliver is mentioning, and they left school and went straight to a photography course. It was at a TAFE college, and it didn't work out for her. She didn't really enjoy it. She was a photographer beforehand, and it meant she was relearning a lot of things that she had already learnt through self-teaching.
And even learning techniques that were completely probably unnecessary to what she would potentially use in the future. Because in a educational course for photography, you're going to learn a lot of stuff that, like in high school, really, algebra and things that you're never going to touch again. So you could be spending hours and paying to do this as well. Courses aren't cheap for something you may never have to do. Work experience is another option as well. Even yourself, Cameron, you've shot a few weddings and kind of been assistant photographers on weddings, even people you kind of look up to, and that's invaluable experience as well. It gives you an idea of if you want to pursue that path as well. Yeah,
you can learn so much on the job, so much more than in a classroom. I believe, anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
And but in saying that, it is also a lot up to the individual who might be a better learner in a classroom environment.
This is our disclaimer here, so no one can blame us if it all goes wrong.
Yeah,
there's a lot of weight on our shoulders. Oliver's making a life decision here.
Yeah.
But it is true. It does come down to the individual and even the genre of photography they want to pursue. Definitely.
I definitely know more people who have benefited from the self-teaching method or the
I think
being with other photographers.
A lot of the professionals I know have been self-taught, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it just gives more room for just creativity, and it's more organic that way. I think a blessing for me was the fact that I never got into photography with a career in mind. I picked up a camera kind of by chance, really, and I just fell in love with it. I love the way it made me view the world differently, and it just gave me this newfound sense of freedom and even happiness and joy, and changed the way I looked at life. And because of that, I loved it so much and I wanted to do it often. My skills began to improve over time, and along with that, essentially kind of came a following that organically built up over the years. That got me to the point where I could then go, okay, maybe I could potentially do something here. But I feel like today, because social media is growing so big, especially Instagram, people are looking at making a career of photography and they've only had a camera for a few months or not even that. And it's kind of tainting their growth as photographers, I feel. So I have answered this question a lot of time to people, and it sounds like a cheeky answer, but a lot of the time I say don't think about the career just yet.
Yeah.
Photography has to be number one. If you're making photos that can't be ignored, then things are going to come from that. If you're creating beautiful photography, it won't be ignored, and there will be opportunities that will arise, no doubt.
If passion if photography is your passion, and the passion is the foundation for your reasoning in photography, then it can really build into
it can get somewhere. And best of all, if it doesn't develop into a career, it's not the end of the world for you, because you have it as a passion. It's your hobby. It's okay. You still love it. But if you're getting into it to purely live off it and it doesn't work, then everything's going to come crumbling down and you won't even have anything to fall back on. So, for me, I'm so grateful to be able to do what I'm doing right now at this point in my life. And even if I couldn't make money off photography, I'd still be doing exactly what I'm doing now. I'd still be as passionate about taking photos and pursuing moments. It wouldn't change much at all.
Yeah, and that's because you fell in love with before really you picked up a camera.
Absolutely. And okay, the final part of Oliver's question, we could rant all day here. Hopefully you haven't fallen asleep on the train or the car or wherever you are. He's just said, we've kind of touched on it, but where do you think young people wanting to make a career out of photography should head? So let's put ourselves in their shoes. They're finishing school. They want to be a professional photographer. Where do I head? We've kind of touched on it, but...
You're going to want to go to paidinstagramfollowers.com.
It's buyfollowers.com.
Oh, buy followers. So, yeah.
And 5% commission goes to William Patino for every... No. So where should they head? Well, how about keep it as a hobby, as we said. And I guess as far as where do you head, develop a name, a brand for yourself, essentially. Get your work out there. Get online. I've said before, I don't like that we have to use social media. It's too time consuming and it can do weird things to people. But just get yourself online, get a presence, and be yourself and just go from there. I think that's probably the best organic way to do it.
And you've had a lot of good opportunities come from developing, friendships and relationships with other photographers through social media.
Like our relationship is one of my least favourite.
Yeah,
but it has stemmed from.
I mean, what do you learn from me?
Nah, but you're so right, man. Like most of my friends now, if not all of them, have been met through photography and not just
social media.
Social media, exactly. And that's such a big thing as well. Social media, don't get on there and be a brand trying to make money. Be yourself. That's what it's about. And yeah, like I said, most of my friends around the world I've met through photography and social media.
Yeah, so hopefully that answers your questions there, Oliver.
Yeah, Oliver. Yeah, awesome question. Hopefully that helps you out, man. And
feel free to let us know.
Yeah, let us know if you even
decision.
listen to this. And don't stress. Like far out. I was a tradesman for 8 years.
Yeah.
And I've made this career change. I made the career change when I had a 3-month-old son. If I thought about that many years ago, that would give me anxiety and a heart attack. But it's okay. Life's too short to worry about the material things and, making money and getting an education and doing what people tell you should do, like the two guys here in the podcast. But, if there's one thing I've learned, life is short and things can change very quickly. So just enjoy the moments, don't overthink it, and have fun. Just have fun along the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll move on to the little next segment of our show where we talk about sort of some upcoming things in our lives relating to photography.
Yeah.
We might even touch on a little bit of gear. It's our first episode, so we might even talk about what cameras that we use. Even we kind of love and hate gear in a way.
Love-hate relationship, definitely.
But what about you, Will? Do you have anything upcoming, any exciting sort of trips or ongoing projects?
A little bit more family time over the next week or so, and kind of my workshop season kicks off soon, so another big few months of travel coming up for my workshops. But more, closer to now, I have a 3-day workshop down the coast at Bermagui, home of the Horsehead Rock.
Nice.
Some of Australia's finest seascapes here. So that's about 5 hours from where we are now in Wollongong. That's just a nice little fun multi-day workshop I'm holding.
With the sharpest rocks in the world.
They are very sharp and volcanic, and you need shoes at this location.
But is it worth it?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's a fun location. So that's kind of the first little gig I've got coming up. Aside from a few, I'm always running little one-on-ones and whatnot locally. That's always happening year-round.
What are you most excited for personally to photograph for your own work? You sort of focus
for the
on
year ahead, or
you focus on a few images that really resonate with you personally over a whole year. So is there a place you're looking forward to photograph?
There is, definitely, and I've got to a point in my photography where it's almost a curse because I'm just so critical of myself and my work. And I visit a lot of stunning locations a lot, but to me, I just want to be chasing something new all the time and seeing something new. I don't want to do what other people have done, which is hard because a lot of the stunning locations in the world like that because people have gone there already and exposed them. But for me personally, this year, aside from returning to New Zealand several times, which is my favourite country in the world, making my first trip to Patagonia in South America, Argentina and Chile.
Nice.
Which, yes, very beautiful. Also a highly photographed location, but my first time there, and I'm very excited to just see it through my own eyes and
put the William Patino twist on it.
I don't know, man. Like, I just need to see this place. And,
yeah.
You know, I try not to have any preconceived ideas or anything when I go to a location, because really landscape photography is so dependent on light and weather and mood and everything like that. So I'm excited for this year ahead, just being a little bit more critical about my work. And I don't know, there's a kind of a flavour and a theme I'm going for at the moment. It's just what I'm passionate about, trying to convey a certain mood within nature. So Patagonia, yeah, super keen. What about you? Year ahead? More plant photography? Or?
No, I'm trying to branch out from plant, pun intended there.
That was over my head.
No, looking forward to New Zealand mostly. I'm going to be over there with you in July.
Yep.
Assisting you with a workshop there. Which
and you gave me a hand last year as well.
Yeah. So
winter NZ.
Very excited for that.
It's fun, isn't it? It's just fun. It's just amazing.
Oh man.
Looking forward to that too.
Yeah. But
anything you want to try there that a lot of people don't have the luxury of going to a place twice. So you're going back to New Zealand. You know, you're helping me in the workshop, but obviously you get to take photos yourself as we go along. Do you look back on anything you photographed and think, man, if I get back there again, or this year when I go back, I really want to try this or this?
Yeah, I just want to take twice as many photos as I took last time.
Okay.
I just want to...
So you got back and felt like you're a bit short.
Yeah,
You gave him a 50, you got back a 10, and you're going, well, where's the rest of the change?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I just want to, not hold back, just try anything and everything, and hopefully be unique in the process. I mean, I'm taking photos every day at the moment, so I like to think it's sort of practice. Do
you reckon you could go to a country like now and just not take a photo and feel okay, or would you just be dying?
I would be dying.
That would kill. Imagine just watching the most epic scene unfold and just purposely not.
Yeah.
It'd be hard, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no.
It'd be special but heartbreaking at the same time.
I've seen like really mundane things in my day to day that it hurts that I'm not photographing. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah,
that's happened.
Couldn't imagine.
Don't remind me. There's been 2 rainbows in the last week that I've just missed right on sunset, and just things have come up, and I've just watched it from the backyard. And I think, man, I could have been getting a cool shot right now, but it's always going to be the case.
Yeah. How about a little bit of gear talk? Just because it's our first episode, we'll discuss a little bit about.
That's a hot question for everyone. So let's get it out. Let's do it right now. Episode 1. Yeah.
What are you using?
I've just had a complete kind of gear change. I was just talking to Cameron about this earlier. The last almost 3 years I've been shooting Sony with their mirrorless systems, A7R, the A7R2, kind of using a hybrid of Sony and Canon lenses. I've just purchased in the last week the Canon 5D Mark IV, which in my opinion, the Sony A7R2 does produce probably a better image as far as resolution, dynamic range, low light capabilities, but I've just been missing the DSLR feel, the layout of the Canon, and the ruggedness. Let's face it, like you know me, I kind of throw gear around and let it.
You're a tradie still.
I'm a tradesman at heart, so I like to just be rough with my gear. And the Sony, I always felt like I was going to break it. So I've still got the A7R2, but the other body I've got now, 5D4, and I've just kind of sold a bunch of lenses and bought new ones. So I've just picked up, actually today, the Tamron 15-30 2.8, which obviously...
Interesting choice. 15, that's quite wide.
Yeah, ultra-wide-angle zoom lens, wide aperture, great for astrophotography, and this bad boy is tack sharp. I'm really impressed with this thing, and...
It's not really a brand you expect.
No, Tamron, like, you just straight away think kind of cheap third-party brand, but these guys, Sigma, those types of people are making amazing lenses. This was half the price of the Canon Nikon equivalents, and the quality is killing it. You can go on dxomark.com, which they compare a lot of lenses, and this thing is rated highly, and I've used it this afternoon. Definitely rate it. So I've got that. And the other main lenses I shoot with are, I've just got the Canon 100 to 400 mil. Got rid of my 70 to 200 Sony. So the Canon 100 to 400, which I love for mountains work. And what else do I have? I've got a Sigma 24 mil 1.4, but
nice.
Yeah, I think that'll be moving on. What about you?
Oh, really? That's heartbreaking. I love that lens.
You've gone through more gear than I have in the past who knows how long.
Yeah, I've had my...
fair share. You've given me a bit of grief over doing this whole Canon and buying all this gear.
I'm the worst perpetrator.
I reckon you've gone through
past.
maybe 5 brands in 5 years. Who knows?
Yeah.
What do you got now?
I'm using the Fujifilm X-T2, and I just run 2 prime lenses at the moment, which is a 16mm 1.4, which is sort of like a 24mm equivalent field of view to a 35 or a full frame DSLR.
Yeah.
And then I've got the 56mm f1.2, which is like an 85mm equivalent. So I've actually been super enjoying just those 2 lenses.
Sometimes simpler is better, isn't it?
Yeah.
And even my gear, I know I probably rattled off too much information. Like, it sounded like a lot, but really I'm just going to have 3 lenses and 2 bodies.
Yeah.
I just like to, keep it simple, especially when traveling. You don't want to get overwhelmed. Just kind of picking the best of what suits me for what I'm doing at this point in time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where you're at. And you want to grab a telephoto before New Zealand.
For New Zealand, I'll pick up a 70 to 200 type lens. Because, absolutely.
For mountains, you just see details. You got to do it justice. You got to get in there.
Yeah, can't wait.
Really, a lot of people don't realise how valuable telephotos are for landscapes, especially. We're going to wrap up shortly, but we did mention as well, we have a love-hate relationship with gear. I would say we're kind of tech heads. Like, we're definitely always keeping an eye on what's out, what's new, but at the same time, I don't like overthinking it, and I don't like that people can really stress out about gear, because at the end of the day, the gear is only going to do a small amount of the job. It's really the individual behind the camera, isn't it? Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah. And I've heard you say before, like, excellent photos have been taken years and years and years ago.
Hundreds of years ago, literally.
Before any of these cameras, before
and
digital,
even on iPhones.
It's
about the moment and just capturing that moment somehow, some way. And with gear, just finding what works for you. Yeah. It's such a hard question when someone says, what camera should I get? What lens? There's so many variables to look at. And even that Tamron wide angle I got today, I love it. It's great for me, but it's really, really heavy. And it sucks if you use filters a lot to put filters on there. So even that lens I can't recommend to everyone. It just comes down to exactly what you're after. But
it's pretty individual. And
oh, man, it's so individual.
Yeah, and I've learnt that the hard way, really.
You've bought a new body every second month of the year, and you finally come back to Fuji. And you were shooting Fuji about a year and a half ago.
Oh, more than that, yeah.
And then you've come full circle. You've shot Canon, you've shot Sony, you've shot Nikon, or Nikon for the Americans listening.
Canon, Sony, Nikon.
Which is so awkward when I run workshops with Americans, and I just feel like I need to adapt my language. Yeah. It's awkward. And I had someone call a Sony once.
Sony, yeah, I've heard that, but never.
I don't know. Is that a thing?
I just thought the person didn't know that Sony was...
And I didn't have the heart to tell them. But then when I had to say Sony, I was like, are they going to think I'm wrong? And well, anyway, I think, what do you reckon? Episode 1.
Episode 1, yeah. Well, we'd love to...
We don't want to drag it out.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your feedback on what you thought to the one person that listened.
Yeah, and that would be my wife. Well,
thanks.
So thanks, Renee, for listening. Actually, I don't even know if she'd listen, but we appreciate if you have stuck it out this far. Yeah, thanks. Congrats. I know our voices. One of the other reasons why we're doing this is I've been told that I've got a great face for radio. So that's a good thing, isn't it? No. No, but definitely we appreciate if you've listened in, and feel free to subscribe anyhow. And
if you have your own questions, you can email us actually at shootfirstpodcast@gmail.com. So we'll be going through those emails. We'll have a read. We'll answer your questions on the podcast, and also we'd just love to hear your feedback.
Yeah, feedback on what you want to see covered. Interviews, we got a plan for doing some interviews, which I don't know if I mentioned to Cameron, but we do now.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, interviewing guys, and just we're open to ideas, but we're pretty excited for this, and we want to keep it quite regular, hopefully weekly if we can.
Yep.
So yeah, send us any questions, even on social media. So my handle, Instagram, and most places is just William_Patino. Cameron's. You can say yours because it's a tongue twister.
It's a tongue twister. It's _mugs_game. So a mugs game with underscores between the words.
This is the only time he regrets having that username is when he has to say it to someone.
It's witty to read, not so witty to spell out.
He stuck it out all these years.
Yeah,
the original, the OG.
Created that 7 years ago probably now.
Man, makes you feel old, doesn't it?
Yeah, anyway.
Sweet. All right.
Yeah, thanks for listening,
Thanks, guys.
This has been Shoot First, Questions Later. We'll see you at the next one.
See ya.